What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the CultureVerse podcast. Today, we have a review for you guys, the full review of season 5 of Stranger Things. It is now officially done for good. There's going to be spin-off projects and stuff, but the main storyline is done. Season 5 finale had dropped. It is officially over. So, we're going to give you guys our full thoughts, spoilers for sure. Spoiler warning now. But with that being said, let's start off with, do we want to do a full rating of the entire season, 1 through 5?
Sure.
Yes. We're gonna talk about volume two a good amount too, since we didn't do that right.
Yeah, we can break it into volumes and whatnot,
Okay,
but
sure.
let's just give a cumulative rating for the entire season 5. So, volume 1, 2, and finale combined. So, anybody like to go first? Who wants to rip the band-aid
I can
off?
go first. I can go first.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna give it, and this is a safe score too. I'm gonna give it a three.
okay, okay. Uh, Tyler, Jack, me.
I'm gonna give it a two.
Okay, okay. Uh,
Uh, you want me to go or you?
I'm also gonna give it a 2.
I would give it a 3.5.
Okay,
All right,
so
that's it. Thanks, guys, for listening.
sick.
Okay, well, with that being said, there's our little ratings. Now, for sure, we are going to get into spoilers now. So, this is your warning. Please, if you guys haven't watched all of it, come back, listen to this afterwards. Obviously, we want you guys to listen, but we don't want to spoil anything. So, you have been warned. Let's get into it. So, there's been a lot of controversy recently with the way season 5 was handled. There's been a ton of controversy with the writing, a lot of controversy with plot holes, plot points, issues, all sorts of things. But I've also seen a lot of things about how much emotion comes through these last couple episodes and how, this is a show that a lot of people grew up with, including us, and how it ended on a really high note and whatnot. So, if anybody has a point they want to start with, good or bad, I'm good for whatever. I will say, obviously, Tyler and I are probably going to have more bad than good, but either way, I'm interested just to hear if someone has a point. Caleb, you seem to be
I
ready.
want to start because I think a lot of my rating, I even say in my review because I'm gonna post in the letterbox too for the finale episode.
Mhm.
A lot of what carries the finale for me, because you guys know, at least you three know how I feel about volume two. Volume two, I thought was straight dog shit. I mean, just abysmal. Season five had, or volume two had one fine episode, and in that one fine episode, there was like three cool moments. And then the rest of the rest of volume two was just booty cheeks, butt. Nothing happened. Worst dialogue, worst writing, plot armor out of galore. So I came into the finale. I was like, Jesus, they're gonna. I can't even fathom how bad they're gonna fuck this up. And I watched it on a bus, okay, on my phone, just like the Duffer Brothers intended.
Yeah.
And I actually really enjoyed it. I Here's the reason I enjoyed it. They are hoping you fall for the fan service, and they are hoping you fall for the nostalgia bait. And as much as I wish I didn't work for me, it worked for me. They pulled on my heartstrings. They got me emotional. I teared up multiple times during the finale, even if it was something cool, if it was a memory, if it was them putting their scripts on the shelf at the end, and they're all like definitely crying, like genuine tears, not even like acting at that point. It worked for me to the point to where I know the plot holes are shit, and I know that the what the Duff Brothers are doing in their interviews is just horrific. Just being like, "Well, this happened." Actually, they're not saying this happened. They're saying maybe it could have happened. It's up to you. You should have written the season. Um,
You should
it's
have
a
done our job.
You should have just done it for us. Where I give it some grace because this show was, I feel like our age range, this is the most tied to the show. Where we watched it when we were like in eighth grade, we were just starting high school, and we're all ending it right as we're just out of college or getting out of college. I mean, this is like, that's how they are too. This is like us as well. And so I liked the finale because it feels like a part of my childhood was wrapped up in a sappy way, and it worked for me. On that same front, I have no problem with how hard you guys are about to rip this finale apart. Zero, because it's true. The final battle being 10 minutes is just genuinely mind-boggling, stupid as hell. But God, were those 10 minutes awesome. Definitely needed to be longer. Pretty cool fight though. Can't even lie. It's the problem is that this finale needed to be fucking 5 hours long because volume two was that bad. It was so bad. The finale almost had to be two finales in one episode because they did nothing in volume two. So they screwed themselves over at that point. So I don't even. I'm gonna step off my soap opera by saying that I give it some grace because of my nostalgia. It's not like you guys don't either. Like obviously you have some emotions towards the show because it's been a decade. However, I want it to be known that as bad as you guys are about to rip it apart, maybe not Jack. I agree with you. So don't even don't think that I was going to give it a 2.5 too, but I just think that because I love Stranger Things as its own entity, I'm giving it a little bit of a higher score than I probably would have if I just didn't give a shit about this show. So I just want to say that before we get really deep into the middle of this. So
Caleb, that was one of my favorite intros of yours.
That was well done. That was
That
beautiful.
was very well done. And I'm gonna do the other side of what you're saying and say that I can understand what you're saying in the sense of like there's that part of you that is okay with the problems. I get that. Like I understand why you're saying that. I think Tyler's gonna agree with me here. To me, there's a line though. And there's a
I
line
agree.
where I'm not just gonna ignore things just because I really, really like the show. And one thing that I kept saying throughout this entire season was it just never felt like Stranger Things to me. And the finale kind of fixed that at times for me, but overall, season five to me has felt like Kill, I agree. Season one through four are some of my favorite seasons of anything. I mean, it's some of the greatest, like, just film in general because of how much I love and how much I've enjoyed it my whole life. So then when season five came out and that huge buildup that we waited for, and the Duffers constantly hyping it up, for it to come out and not feel like Stranger Things and not the writing has been noticeably worse. The visuals have been noticeably worse to me, despite having a much larger budget. The plot holes have been absurd. I think the acting has been honestly the worst it's been in the 5 seasons. And the biggest problem for me is why are we introducing so many new characters? Why are we not focusing on the legacy characters? Because it ends up leaving you in the finale where they have to try to make time for every single character and they don't get to wrap up every story how he wanted it to because they introduced an entire new plot. So I ended up disliking the entire concept of Vecna trying to get kids because they're easy. Like, I didn't find that interesting. I found it to be an unnecessary addition of like 12 new characters that we were seeing for too long. And not to say that I didn't like the characters. Like I liked the stuff with Holly. I thought she was interesting, but it got to the point where it was like we're spending more time with Holly's story than we are with like Mike. Like Mike is just here. Mike's just existing for this entire season, like until it's time for him to get involved at the very end. And there's a lot of characters that I felt like they did that with where they just didn't get what they deserved because we're too busy trying to write a story with different characters. And that's not even a plot hole. That's just a problem that I genuinely had. But it's hard to narc on that kind of stuff because the other part of me is like season one through four had it made me cry, tears of joy, tears of sadness. It had me like shaking in my seat, waiting for the next season to come out after season one, after season two. It had moments where like I specifically remember where I was when Steve is getting attacked by the Demobats and the screen, the episode like stop. I remember exactly where I was in the moment where my mom called down to me and said I had to come down and mow the lawn and I had to stop and I didn't know what happened. And that was like the most stressful hour of my entire life. Like that's how much the show has had me by the hook. So like there is part of me that's like, do I just say fuck it and like ignore this shit? But there's the side, what's winning is the side of me that is like almost offended, like upset that this isn't as good as it should be. And it feels to me like the Duffers almost didn't take this seriously, which is crazy because I know they did, but how do they have so many plot holes? How do they leave so many things open? Why is the dialogue bad? Why are we focusing on new characters? Why is the final fight 8 minutes? What's up with all these problems that have never been an issue in the first 4 seasons? We were not accustomed to there being problems like this. Why is it now that we're getting these problems? And that's where I'm at, where like I'm all for the emotional stuff. The ending, the very ending you're talking about when they're putting their binders away, that was amazing. That was super emotional. I love when Mike looks back as Holly and her friends are down there playing it. All of that. Genuine like emotions driven straight through the heart. That is the last 10 minutes of the episode. Before that, I don't like the way they end Steve. I think they half-ass Steve's ending. They give him this, well, he's a baseball coach now and he's around kids. Well, he's dated 7 girls in the last 18 months and he's still not settled down and who knows if he will. Like, we've been waiting for that. And that's something that's bothered me too, is like to not have him and Nancy get together, I think at this point is just stupid. Like I think they were egging it on so heavily, and they're getting the Jonathan and Nancy to break up, and then none of them end up together. Jonathan's just making a homemade movie now, like, and Nancy's just dropped out. Like everything felt underwhelming with the way they wrapped it up. And I'm just to the point where I'm more upset because I think that they had something great going into the season, and ultimately they just, I don't know if they just relied heavily on the fact that they knew people would watch, but I don't know. It almost feels like this isn't the Duffer Brothers. It feels like this isn't the same story we've been watching, and we can get into more of the nitpicky and the actual plot holes later, but that's my opening statement that Caleb had of more disappointment, but I get what you're saying.
Jack, I'm curious on your side, since you're obviously a lot more positive than we are.
Um, I think I'm just a joyous person.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay, bro. That is
I
crazy.
mean, frankly, that is kind of where I'm going because none of you have said anything that I've like, raised my eyebrow at and been like, well, that's bullshit. Like, what are they talking about? Like, I've understood where everyone's coming from so far, and which is why my ratings would reflect this. I didn't have this rating when you clicked record. I came up with 3.5 on the spot because I compared it in my head to the other seasons of television. Seasons 1 and 2 are 4.5s or fives. Season 3 is probably a 5 for me. It's 4.5 or a 5 again. Season 4 was probably a 4 for me. It's still great. And so I do agree. I think this is a noticeable drop. I think there's more like glaring issues like Gabe was talking about. He has a whole laundry list, I'm sure, but um, there's absolutely more issues than we're accustomed to. But for me, a 3.5 on my scale is just saying I liked it. It's not saying it's great. It's not saying I loved it. It's saying I liked it. And I just, as much as even if I agree with certain issues, I don't think I would go as far as to say I did not like it. That would be my issue. I think it's perfectly reasonable to be annoyed with the Duffers because frankly I am because this season should have had potential to just be a straight 5. Like even after volume 1, it had potential to be, that 4.5 range. I don't know if it was they didn't quite like put it to the level I would have wanted for it to be in that 5 range, but I think there was we talked about that in our review of the first half that there it was there. We were like it wasn't phenomenal, but they have it set up. They could do great things. And volume 2 kind of felt like just a bridge to the finale. Like they were kind of just getting there. When honestly, I feel like they should have just sat down and wrote the finale as long as they wanted to, and then just split it up into a couple episodes. I think Caleb mentioned something similar along that. Because if the whole season was written the way they wrote the finale, because they put heart and effort into the finale, there might be plot holes, but they put heart and effort into it. They would have taken more time focusing on the individual endings for these characters and maybe just giving them 50% more time on each ending. I think they could have really landed that plane. Because I remember saying right after the finale, if Volume 2 is written like that, the show would have been, or the season would have been a lot better. So, once again, I agree with most of what you guys are probably going to say. I just think it bothers me less. I think Caleb kind of feels similarly, where I'm almost just kind of pushing it to the side and I'm like acknowledging it. I'm like, yes, but also I've seen so much worse and I still enjoyed my time. And so I can't go any lower than that.
Tyler, what's your little opening statement here?
I mean, I've said this many times, and I think after this season, it only helps my case. But I think this show should have ended after season 3. I think they just tried to do way too much going in with 4 and 5, and clearly with 5, I don't think they knew what the fuck they were doing. I seriously don't. I mean, there's so many problems. You don't have this many problems if you didn't know what you were doing, or if you were forced to make this. I, as I was watching these episodes, I'm writing notes. I'm writing notes of what I could possibly talk about with these when we review them. And I have more negatives than I do positives, clearly, as I give it a 2. But these are like standout negatives. Like, these aren't like nitpicks. Like, the way they handle the opening with Steve and Dustin is just terrible. Obviously, they do a very good job with in episode, I think it's 7 or 6, where they have that little talk before he attempts to die. But but in the whole thing with this was just a major disappointment, just severely. The hype up from before, and just the way they handled the whole, oh, everybody's gonna be so distraught, everything is gonna be terrible, everybody's gonna think everybody's gonna die, even though nobody dies. There was no stakes, no nothing. Obviously, we talked about how the final boss was 5 minutes, and don't even get me started with the fact that the whole world that we were in fighting this mind flayer was just completely the opposite of how they written this whole monster. Like, it's in a fucking desert, even though it likes the cold. There's no demodogs, there's no bats, there's no. We
Is it
needed
a
an
cold
end.
desert?
Yep.
Could be. It's called a
Hey,
tundra.
True.
Florida was cold this week. All right,
We frankly needed an end game level ending, and we just did not get that. And this is why I have it as a 2. It was so disappointing.
I think one of the things that's really sorry, you go respond to Ty first.
okay, yeah, I would. It's pretty brief too because I said this in our chat too at one point. I think that I totally get. I don't think they knew what the fuck they were doing for sure because I think that I said this was season 4. I think season 4 is good. Gabe obviously really loves it. Jack maybe less. I don't know what Tyler, what you think about 4.
I think it's okay.
I think they got lucky with 4. I think they were kind of just throwing shit at a wall and it kind of hit and they were like, well, I mean, we can work with that. Like they kind of had the setup, but it's very noticeably different than season 3. Like they're kind of just rolling with the Hopper plotline and that's it. Like everything else is kind of new to some capacity. Um, like with more like delving in more and deeper with Vecna. I think that the whole Vecna storyline that they just kind of came up with was like really well done, and then they kind of just got lucky, and then they didn't know how to wrap that part of season 5 up. I just think they were like, we have something, but it's not nearly enough to make it a great idea. I think they just had a great idea with 1 through 3, with the mind flare and Will being a spy, and just the whole mystery thriller of that part. And then it became a huge sci-fi thing. Like it was more of a fantasy suspense, and it became a sci-fi action off the walls kind of show. And that's what people are saying. It doesn't feel like Stranger Things anymore because it's really not even close to season 1. Like people are like, I love in season 1 and it's all this grounded stuff and it's like cop thriller and then it shows the picture of 11 flying up to the kaiju mind flare, which it's cool, like it is, but it's just not what Stranger Things was for 8 years. So it's like, how do you? I was trying to think what you guys are talking like. How would I even rate Stranger Things as a show at this point? I don't even know how I would rate. I feel like I can't even rate it now. Like I feel like I would maybe just feel like a blanket 4 to cover it all. But like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard for me to do because I really do think they just didn't know what to do with season 5 and they got lucky with 4. Because and I didn't know this either until recently. Apparently people hate season 3. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. Apparently, people hate season 3. It makes no
I
sense.
just I just figured that out this month. That or I guess
Yeah.
December. That people
Yeah, they
hate
hate
season
the
3.
best season of the show.
I'm like, well,
It's
season
so
3 is the
good.
best
It's
season.
so dumb that people hate that, dude. It makes no sense.
That was news to me.
They think the Russian side plot is boring, which
They
is
don't like Russian
insane.
people.
every part of
Insane.
that season is
Yes.
insane. Learning the
Yes.
mystery of with Nancy and Jonathan, and they're piecing it together. And
Yeah. That season
dude,
is
that
awesome.
is so cool.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
get that one.
so I don't know. I agree, Tyler. I don't think they knew what they were really doing with this season.
That's kind of where I was going as well. The thing that keeps really frustrating me is them saying that they initially sent in this pitch during season 1. That is just a lie.
No.
Where they're at with
So
this season
bullshit.
5, I do not. They might have had like the rough idea of this Dimension
There you
X,
go.
sure,
Yeah.
but what they've done There's no way because this entire season just feels like they were flying by the seat of their pants. Like they were just, like Caleb said, they were just throwing shit. They were just hoping it would turn out cool. Like, and that's where the plot holes come in because they didn't have this shit planned. They had none of this planned. Did you hear what their reasoning was for why you don't see any demogorgons or demodogs or demobats? They said something
He
along the
wouldn't.
lines of,
I got it.
"Well, they're in there somewhere."
Well, did you
What?
see the other part of what he said?
Uh,
He
Maybe.
said that Vecna wouldn't have them ready
Yeah,
because
because it
they
was an
would never
ambush.
expect a sneak attack on their own turf. So they were just there, as if Vecna couldn't be like, "Hey guys, they're over here."
Or the fact
And
that
then
the
he fought.
fucking mind flayer stands up and starts fighting. You think the
Well,
mind flayer wouldn't
well,
be able to
and the fact that
hold
But
him?
that's
the Demogorgon's like, "Oh shit, something's going on over
the
there."
fact that
They
that's
didn't.
then followed up with him saying, "But they're in there somewhere," is mind blowing.
And if
That
they're
is the
all
most
connected and they're getting hurt, you
they
would
would
think
know.
they would
Well,
go over
but
there.
the whole connection thing's in the trash too because somehow Will doesn't die. And you
I
know
was
what
just
they
gonna say
said?
that.
You know what they
Yeah.
said about that? This was good. They said the reason Will doesn't die when Vecna dies is because one, they started by saying, well, we didn't want to show Will in that moment because we just wanted to show Vecna getting killed. But they said at some point before his head gets cut off, he lost the connection. What?
So
That was,
Yeah,
that was
At
yeah.
some
clutch.
point?
so
They
while
don't show the
Joyce is
particles
cutting
going
his head
out.
off, Will is just not feeling this or something. Like
No, he's not.
that's
Somehow the connection is severed and they didn't show it or explain it. And their reasoning was just, well, we didn't want to put the camera on Will in that moment because it was about them fighting Vecna. What is
It's
that,
severed because
bro?
he's not afraid anymore, buddy.
Sorry, I
Not
forgot.
afraid anymore.
Yes, correct. That's why it's severed. No, but
Unironically, if they wrote it in, that's probably what they would have said. By the
that's
way,
dog shit. I hope they didn't write that in. That is terrible. He just simply gets over it and the connection's like, we're done. Like
I mean, we did
I
say they were probably gonna win by the power of
hey,
friendship.
he
So
listened to
except
Bob.
the
He said go
connection
away.
except the connection isn't severed because he literally like keeps Vecna from winning and fights through him. So the connection's not severed. He uses Vecna and fights through him. So that just makes yes, kill.
I was just gonna say my next favorite plot hole.
Oh yeah, go on. This is what it's gonna turn into. Go on.
Okay, so here's the worst part for me. That's one thing I didn't even think about that until I saw it on Twitter after I finished the episode. I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, Will probably should have died in that moment. Here's my biggest problem, probably the biggest problem with the season. What happened? There's no the ambiguity behind 11 is just frankly unbelievable. I it's hard to even consider what they did with 11. I don't even know what they did because it's up to your interpretation. You can't
Inception
do
moment.
that in a season finale of a decade show. You can't say there's two endings to your main character. What? So is Mike hallucinating this shit? First of all, 11 should have been able to contact Mike because the things are going off. Second of all, Callie should have been blown to smithereens the first second that bomb goes off. Maybe she's alive. First of all, she's been bleeding out for, I don't fucking know, a half hour.
She's
She's just
toast.
been sitting there like this. Oh, yeah, just chilling, waiting for that
Yeah,
bomb
Just
to go
not
wait.
off.
bleeding out
Just
after a
waiting for the
bullet to the
plan.
fucking chest.
And also,
Tommy,
how would she know when to do it? She's just sitting there like, all right,
And
now.
I saw someone say that she was
they're
hallucinating the
connected.
bullet wound. For why? Like you could have just done the hallucination later for
Yeah.
Hopper. It's not like Hopper's like
But
keeping track of that specifically. Like
but
I
even
Hopper
don't.
also doesn't care if she kills herself.
even beyond that, Caleb, like you said, the very first thing that explodes is the fucking
I know
building that
it
she's
is.
in. It's the first thing that
So the
goes.
illusion should have been gone immediately.
It would have
And
instantly blown up.
11 shouldn't have been able to contact Mike with her powers. It's a
No.
great scene where she's contact. I think it's the
Well,
Purple Rain. Awesome
they
scene. Should have been impossible.
they're saying that she connected with. By the way, I know this. The writing is still not like right here, but under the Duffer's own writing, Elle is alive because the whole power thing only works if Elle is not in that portal.
True.
If she is invisible and she's somewhere else and she's contacting him from, I don't know, the woodshed to the left that she's hiding in or whatever, that's literally the only way the power thing makes sense and that
Yeah.
she
So I
talks to
mean,
Mike.
she has to be
So
alive.
they just pigeonhole themselves. Also, you're not bringing back Callie for this big reveal just to have her not play a significant role in the story, saving a character. You're not flying the entire crew to fucking Iceland to film an alternate ending that didn't actually happen. She's alive. That's their intent. But they're leaving it open because they want people who wanted a big death to be able to pretend that someone died but they don't want to have to stick to the consequence of that because it's Jack's biggest pet peeve in writing is when some lazy ass writer thinks that they can leave an open ending and think that that's creative or smart when it's really just incredibly lazy and basically I can't commit to one of the decisions with my characters, so I'll just let someone else
I have
pick.
one more quick qualm. It's with Mike
Qualm.
being with Mike writing the stories too. So is Mike? Did he write the whole story of Stranger Things? They
What are you talking about? He
kind of
made a
predict.
he made a D&D campaign based off of their experiences.
Okay, I just
The
I
They
whole
like
thing,
always
they heard
he,
that
he,
theory and they just reversed it.
Hill
there's
thought the
just
whole
so
thing
much
was
shit.
fake.
There's just so much shit happening where it's like, is it
No,
Was
hallucination?
this
Is
real?
it surreal?
no,
Is
no.
there
He's just writing based
when you
off
when you
what
start
they.
bringing in the illusions
No,
and you
he
start
just.
bringing in the alternate ambiguous endings, your
Yeah,
audience is going to be confused.
yeah, for sure.
It's
The other thing that annoys me with this whole 11 concept is, so let's say they do choose to like go with the fact that she is alive. Tyler, you mentioned the whole concept like they're saying that everyone's going to be crying and we're only going to kill off a character if it's important. I hate that they pussy out of actually killing off a character. Like,
There's no
do it.
stakes in the show at
Do it.
all.
There are none. Except the one that dies is Callie, and I'm quite certain I stood up and
Amen.
started clapping when she died.
We
When she
all
got
did.
shot, I started
We all did.
cheering. Like that is so annoying that you pussy out of killing the one important character that it actually would have made sense to kill. Like I didn't love the concept. I was like, I mean, yeah, I get why they're doing it, but like it was to the point where I was like, okay, you know what? Fine. Like, yeah, I do think that would make sense. And then they fake it out and they write it where she's still alive, just pissing off in some stupid ass little village
No
with
balls. No
with
balls to kill
no
anybody.
balls at all. They have no balls. And here's the part that's I don't know if I'm the only one that's realized this. I don't know, but I'm gonna bring this up. This drives me absolutely insane, and it's so random. But do you know the person that if we choose to not have her sacrifice herself and she chooses to come back, do you know the person who could keep the government from finding her?
Oh.
Dr. Owens, who,
Yeah, yes, thank
where
you.
is he?
Yep.
Where is Dr. Owens? He's one of
Yes,
the most
Gabe.
important characters in this entire fucking show, and he's not even mentioned.
The
well,
What?
the government just pisses
the
off. Dr. K
yes.
just
That's a whole
watches her
different
die.
plot point. We'll get to
Mhm.
that.
Yes.
We'll get to that one next. But the fact that Dr. Owens isn't even mentioned, he single-handedly kept the government off her ass for multiple seasons at times. He in season 4, or yeah, in season 4, he's doing everything. He's just gone. He's just like sitting on his fucking couch watching the Lions. Like, what are we doing? Where
The
is this
Lions.
guy? This is ridiculous.
So the plot point that Caleb just brought up with the them literally killing like military
Yeah,
personnel and whatever and not going to jail, they just went home or whatever.
yeah,
All of that is solved if you bring Dr. Owens in for a 5 minute scene where he arrests every single person involved in the military because they've all been considered gone rogue.
yeah.
And you do that, and then Hopper and Owens talk for literally 5 minutes about, yeah, we're gonna cover all this up.
And he can
That's
do
all
it.
you have to
He
do.
can do it. He
Even if you
easily
felt that was lazy, it would at least make sense.
at least closes those holes. And
Yeah.
instead, they don't even say his fucking name in this season.
Well, and that also helps with one of my biggest issues with the season was the utter incompetence of the military and like how the government, like in previous seasons, this felt like a bigger threat. There's been more mystery around them, and they're not just they've had evil people in them, but it hasn't just been like they're the bad guys.
You're
It's
right.
been like there's like ambitious or greedy people that have led to bad things and bad outcomes, but you've had people like Owens that are like more conflicted and actually try to help them at certain points.
Mhm.
And so there was actually like an element of intrigue or interest in the government plot line.
Yes.
And then this season it was just like they're all bad guys with guns and they're gonna shoot L. And they're gonna shoot at the Demogorgons. It's gonna do absolutely fuck all, but they're gonna be really cool to murder.
Yeah, they're
So
still shooting bullets at Demogorgons
yeah,
like it's worked ever.
they were literally just there so that Vecna could freaking spear that guy through the face
Yeah.
and that L could make that one guy blow his brains out.
I
That was the
also
only
love
reason they were there. It was for cool deaths.
I
And
also
so
love how
Hopper
they
could go
hired
John Wick.
I also love how they hired the girl from the Terminator just to walk around. She doesn't do jack
She doesn't-
shit in
yeah,
this
no,
season.
she
She is
doesn't.
a terrible villain.
Okay.
Horrible.
And it's because they just wrote her to be bad.
Yes. She just walks around
There's
and
nothing.
yells and shoots it. Like, and adding on to that, like, if you want to talk more about problems with the government, and this is a problem with the entire plan in general of Elle sacrificing herself. First off, do you really? What happened? What about all the fucking pregnant women and the shit that was going on?
Oh,
with
they're
that?
dead.
That's just gone.
Which
and
they did.
and building
Yeah.
off of that, You think just because 11's gone, they're just gonna stop trying that? They're just gonna keep doing
Mhm.
it. They're just gonna keep trying, just failing. This
I
didn't
will.
save anything. This did nothing.
I will say they said that the blood was poisoning the women, so that it was killing them. So they're probably gonna die anyway. But that doesn't change the fact that they just didn't even think about them and just blew up the
No.
whole place
Well,
anyway. They're like, that they're poisoned. They can't be saved. Just
and the
blow them
fact
up.
that they really think that, like, well, if Elle kills herself, they'll stop. No, the fuck they won't. They'll just stop looking for Elle. They'll just keep trying shit and keep killing women. Like, this is not gonna stop. Like, why do we think this was the answer? It was
They're
not
still
the
doing that today.
They're okay, all right. It's just mind blowing that they thought one that made sense, and then two, like you said, Jack, like yeah, they're gonna die anyways, but they're just like fuck them, like we don't need
Well,
to
how
show
about
it.
how about the government holding back the crew? Why the fuck are they holding Mike back from getting out?
I,
What? They're like, hold on, Mill, make this really
no,
dramatic.
so
Come
yeah,
on, Mike, pull
literally, so we
back.
can get the most dramatic scene of all time. Which, by the way, 95% of the people in that scene are acting horrifically. Awful. Lucas going like, no, Al. I was like, dog. We literally he was hitting that, Tyler. And then the scene of Mike and Elle when it's like emotional. Mike was dog shit, bro. Terrible act. Like he was
Okay, Gabe,
like, he
I saw
couldn't
a
even
meme.
cry hardly. He was just like, it was like a boy hitting puberty, voice cracking. Like, no.
I saw a meme that was like when your girlfriend of like 5 years gets blown to smithereens, and it's him like this, and it's like a single tear. And it's like when your D&D campaign game ends, and he's bawling when he's
Dude,
putting his blade
that's
through
that is
it.
so true. Like the acting is so much better in that final scene than when Elle is literally dying and everyone's just like screaming in slow motion. Yeah, sorry. When her
He does like
vision
that
is
though.
blowing up. It's just awful. That's so bad. Like
So does that mean
why?
Mike just accurately predicted Eleven's entire story after
Yes,
season
Yeah.
six?
actually,
Or
yeah. He just came up with all that.
Kal-El, no.
He just knows.
so is she alive then? If Mike is just right, if
Yes,
he's
I
just
just
if
told
he
you.
What
okay,
Jack said
but
makes sense. She would not have physically been able to speak to him in her mind if she was not there. So she had to be
Now,
hiding
Mike
somewhere.
doesn't know that until the graduation ceremony when he hears the
so
Yeah,
is
speakers.
that's
so that
also
part
funny. It took him
so
She's
18
also
months to
not
figure that out.
bleeding out of her nose when she gets swept away, which she would have.
I
Yeah,
saw,
he's
yeah.
speak your shit, my brother.
so
Of course,
is
they could have just forgot. So
was the 11 stuff in Iceland true then?
is what? What do you
Yes.
say?
Is the
Could
11
could
shit
it
in
not
Iceland
be
true?
though?
I'm pretty sure it's.
It's
Yes,
up
it's
for your
absolutely true.
interpretation.
Well, I mean,
They
I guess
literally
she
said it's up
technically
to
could
your
have not gone to
interpretation.
Iceland, but
Because
All
Mike
I can
wrote
say
that.
is the
she's
top fell
alive.
over. I don't know.
Well, considering the Duffers did literally say
Shut
that
the
it's
hell
it's
up.
up to your interpretation. They said on their
Wait,
own that it's up to your interpretation.
I do want the top to fall over, so I agree with you, Tyler.
I'm kidding. It
So,
stayed.
Caleb, I'm quite certain
You just
that
change your
I'm
answer.
quite certain that that's all
It's
real.
up to
But
my interpretation, bro.
okay, we are not talking about Inception right now. But the Duffers literally
I
they
see
pulled
that's
the
the
it's
problem. Like
whatever you want, which side thing, they also said that Robin and Vicky's relationship is just whatever you want. They might be
oh
together,
yeah,
they
we just
might be
don't see
broken
Vicky
up.
anymore too.
I could give less of a shit,
But the
honestly.
Duffers said
True.
that. They're like, it's up to you to decide. What do you mean?
She
Just
gets
tell us.
kidnapped and then we don't see her again.
Just tell us. Like we don't. Also, why is she
Robin,
even? She shouldn't even be in this season, bro. She just is there.
Okay, also another thing with that. Why the fuck did they just leave Vicky with Max in
Yeah,
the one
good call,
place that they
guys.
knew they
Good
were gonna
call.
find them? The most like
With like the most problematic of the kids who has been constantly hunted by
oh
Vecna, and they're like, let's just leave her with Vicky.
you
Like,
got this, Vic.
and they get caught in like 15
they
minutes.
couldn't have rolled Max into the abyss or what?
Rolled Max into the abyss. I
I
mean,
Loki,
honestly,
Loki, we should have had a Mr. Clark torture scene.
What?
like
An
pulling his
interrogation.
fingernails off.
Because he
What's their
literally
name?
just figured it all out yesterday.
That's
He'd be like,
another
I
random thing
actually have
is
no idea.
Mr. Clark just randomly being added into this and just like dropping the bomb of the first 4 seasons on this guy, and he's just
Dude,
here.
they
I was like,
they should have done that in like the first episode of the
he
season
should have
if they
been a
were going
part.
to do
He should
that.
have been a part of all this, honestly, like 2 seasons ago. Like he's
Probably, yeah.
always been here, and they just use him as that, like, oh look, it's Mr. Clark. Oh, this is fun. He'll help.
We needed a
Come on,
smart guy,
bro.
and Dustin is busy, Bo.
Dude, we need it. It's so frustrating. And that kind of ties back into that character problem I have where just being introduced to new characters, bringing in characters we don't care about, and then not giving payouts to the characters we do care about. Like, I don't understand why so many, and like, I remember mentioning early on that I was really enjoying the Holly storyline, and I still do, but like, we spend entirely too much time on the kids and Holly's storyline. Like, it's just not interesting anymore, dude. Like, at what point? I wish they just didn't even do that storyline. Like, I just wish we
That better not be Derek disrespect.
Holly. Well, obviously, I like Derek, but like, he's a part of the kids of new characters. That's like, we don't need these characters. We lose focus on what matters, which is the main characters. And like, I like Derek, and I think he's funny, and I like everything he does. But it's like, just because you have a cool, fun character that you like does not mean that he's like super well written and it all makes perfect sense. So like, ultimately, I wish we just didn't do any of this plotline with Vecna just being like, yeah, I'm just gonna kidnap 12 kids. I'm taking a class. Like, why? I don't think that's cool. I don't think it's interesting. I don't even think his logic makes sense. He's like, they're stupid, so I
Yeah,
can.
I thought there was gonna be a deeper reason, but I don't.
He's literally just said they're dumb. He's like, well, kids,
He
their brains
Why
don't
why
work.
didn't he do that like earlier? Like in season 4, he takes fucking teenagers. Like why
because he
why
needs to
Well,
say it's time 10 times before we can do it.
that's true. He does have to say it's time. That will happen. Speaking of repetitive things that happen too many, I was gonna shoot myself if we had to see Max running up that
Oh
hill
my
one more
god.
time.
Dude, it
Stop.
was literally the same scene like
Except
three
it looked
separate times.
way shittier this
each
season.
one got worse.
It looked
But
terrible.
we didn't even get to talk about them having their podcast
Oh my
before they
Their
god,
exited
dude.
podcast
volume
before
two.
the portal opens
It
when
was literally it was like a 10 to 15
Holly
20
and
minute
Max just
segment, bro.
stop and have a whole conversation
Max
about what
was
they're
eating
eating for
popcorn while they're
breakfast.
doing
Yeah,
it.
that
Guys,
is ridiculous.
we got some competition.
It's insane. And to make the reason they do that is because they're like, well, she doesn't need the music anymore. It's just Lucas. Where's Vecna? Why did he just stop? Why? That's yes, Jack.
It's because they went through
That's what I was
his
about to get
memory so
into.
he couldn't go.
What a dog shit plot device, by the
Didn't
way.
Vecna stop her
No,
earlier in the exact same
Yeah,
manner?
but she went through her memories to get to the place to get free.
no, that
He went through her that
children some
time they
crazy, Tom.
that time they went through
Speaking of his
Vecna's.
memory, how the fuck did the mind flayer get into that suitcase? Are we just like we're not gonna
Oh,
talk about
hey,
that
you
at
want to
all?
know? You want to know how
buddy.
to figure that out, buddy? Go watch the
Nope,
play.
nope. They're gonna make a
What?
spin-off show
Are you
about
fucking kidding
Henry
me?
in that case.
Tyler, you don't. Tyler, 95% of the lore about all this shit is in a Broadway play, and that's the only place you can figure out all
And
this
soon to be
information.
TV show.
Yeah, it's gonna be in the spinoff probably.
They're gonna make a spin-off
Cool.
about it.
Because in the play it's not a rock.
So arguably like the most important aspect of the entire show is not
It's
in
in a
the fucking
play.
show.
It's in a play.
Mhm.
That's like
It'll
only
be the
shown in
prequel
like.
show.
It's where did you hear that? That's what the show's gonna be about, Jack. I did not hear that.
I don't know, some random Instagram account.
I don't think that's what the show's
I
gonna
don't
be
I don't think
about.
it's been
Like the
confirmed, but
CultureVerse
I
podcast?
my guess is it'll be something with that and getting towards modern times.
Either
Gabe,
way.
I DM'd the Duffer Brothers and they said probably
And
maybe.
they were like, "Oh, hey,
It's
that's
up
a
to your
good idea."
interpretation. Yeah.
They were like,
I was gonna
"Fuck,
say
thanks,
they probably
man."
said, "Can you write it?" Or can I?
Did you guys hear about when Finn Wolfhard had that
Yeah.
conversation with the Duffer Brothers about how
They stole his idea for sure.
oh
He came
that
he
or
came
they
to him and
that
said
or
he
he
had a
just
cool idea
came
for
up
a
with this
spinoff.
and they had and what the story he said was true. That just makes their storytelling so
You
fucking
know that
better.
how they played that song at the end with the credits, the rolled credits, the Heroes by David Bowie, and did a different version for their final emotional song. I saw
Sure.
Joe Keery told them to play that.
Of course he
They
did.
played it.
He's
They
just
played
doing.
it before. Did you know that they played that twice before?
Yeah, they played the
Probably.
Peter Gabriel version earlier in the
Yes,
show.
but so every time they
Season
played
one.
it, it's because we thought somebody was dead.
It's when you
They
find the
play
body in season 1, episode
Yes.
4, and then at the end, and then what's the other time?
Season 3 when we think
Is it
Hopper is
Hopper?
dead.
They play Heroes and
Yep.
I'm not
And
gonna
then they
doubt
played it
you.
at the end of this season. We think 11 is dead. Well, I guess
See,
somebody
another
else
reason
is
she's
dead.
alive.
Yeah.
I guess, except for I doubt they thought about it that hard.
Did you also see the photo they took where they cropped Dustin's shirt to make it say L lives?
Yeah, I did see that actually.
Yeah, they put like his little thing.
Also,
over his
there's
shirt.
a -% chance that was planned because hell no.
It's 80% of this shit was not planned.
Well, they had so many like plot lines, they just didn't know they didn't know which ones to close, and because there's too many.
There are way too many. Like it's obnoxious how many there are and how we're just bouncing all over the place with different storylines, different concepts, different problems, and you just start to lose track of everybody and anyone that's even a character. And this is a small problem, but like I genuinely am annoyed by at this point. Are we ever gonna like? Well, we're not. The show's over. Ted Wheeler, dude, fuck him, right? Like,
He's good.
how many
Admit
times?
it.
Like they
Language.
early in season 5, Nancy and Mike go to the hospital to see their mother, and they just don't go see Ted ever. We see Ted when he gets fucked up in the beginning, and we literally don't see him again until the last scene of the show at graduation. They just forget about. You could have told me he was dead, and I would have believed it because they just don't
He
show
should have
him.
been.
Okay, that's crazy.
They should have Nancy, Karen and him should have died in the first.
Well, that's another problem, by the way, is Karen just getting up out of her
Oh
bed to
my,
save the day.
getting her
She
throat
was in
sliced
like
up.
she
No
like
way.
couldn't.
No.
The fact that she's alive is ridiculous, but then her getting up and just like managing to kill 3 demi-dogs is just it was plot armor out of
Yeah,
the
I do.
ass.
I love how she puts in a fucking gas tank into a
She
dryer,
puts in a
starts the
dryer, and they're
dryer,
like,
and you don't hear
that'll
the noise
blow
until
up.
after she's gone out of the way and hides. No,
It's
no.
that. Oh wow, you just remind me of another problem bouncing off of that.
What I do?
This one will piss me off for a long time, and I know you guys have seen this one. The fact that we never once got Max realizing that Hopper is alive is
Oh, yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I forgot
Max
that.
should, as last she knows, he's dead, and she just comes back. She's like, okay, what?
Welcome back, kid.
We're we're just ignoring that. Like that's such a major plot point that's just totally ignored. Like it's just completely thrown in the trash. That's this is what I mean. Like it's shit like this where I just can't give grace when it's this obnoxious. Like I so badly want to think that season 5 is the greatest thing since sliced bread. The problem is it sucks balls. It's not good. Like Jack, I get what you're saying. You say you liked it. That's cool. I didn't. I did not like it enough. I just frankly didn't. And I wasn't gonna lie and be like, well, I really like the show and there's people defending it, so I gotta say I like it. I didn't. I didn't like it. I liked moments, but it was very brief. It was brief moments that I liked. For 80% of the show, Dustin's just an absolute asswipe. Like, not at all like Dustin. And their reasoning is obviously like, well, Eddie died. It has been like a year and a half since Eddie died, and he's just being a piece of shit to literally everybody. You're telling me no one at any point has like in that year and a half had sat down with him and been like, dude, let's talk about this. Like, you are being a terrible person. We care about you. Steve hadn't done that. He's just being an ass. Like, he's fighting kids. He's putting snakes in people's lockers. He's trying to fight people. Like, when would Dustin ever do this shit? Like, and we finally get it fixed in episode 7 or whatever when he tells Steve that he doesn't want him to die. And finally, he's back to normal. Like, that annoys me so much that one of my favorite characters. Everyone loves Dustin. He's just not Dustin for 80% of the show. And it's that way with a lot of these main characters. Like, I don't know if you guys felt this way, but I felt like Mike was just, like I said, existing for half the
I've hated
season.
Mike for 5 seasons.
Okay, that's
What
crazy.
did Mike do?
That's
What,
crazy.
what did he do?
I said this when we were doing it the first time. Mike is the most irrelevant character ever. He's just there in every season, and he's just I saw a
but he's
meme.
peak.
I saw a tweet that said if you knocked on Mike Wheeler's head, you would hear the hollow shell going because there's nothing inside of his brain.
Season
Bro,
5, I
he's the
agree.
storyteller. He
He's
came up
like
with all the
this.
campaigns.
This is why I've seen
He did the Rigby cat.
Dude, fucking, dude, he's just dumb as a rock. He's just
He
there to
also
be.
came up with a plan to kidnap Derek.
He's just 11's boyfriend. Like
He is low key just 11.
he has zero depth. He's just there.
Still better than Jonathan and Nancy.
Because Jonathan's acting for being an idiot, and I like Nancy, so
I like how he goes because Jonathan sucks. Everyone hates Jonathan.
I don't
Oh
think Finn
shit! That just
Wolfhard-
reminded me of something else I hated about
the
this
fact
season.
that Finn
Oh, when
Wolfhard
Jonathan
said-
saved Steve.
No,
Yeah.
well, first off,
that was so stupid.
that alone was dumb as hell. Like
The
we were
cut to
gonna,
black was
like
dumb.
we were gonna think
So stupid.
Steve fell. Like
Yeah.
we were all gonna really be like, it cut to black, and I was like,
We're an hour into
Who's
the season
catching him?
finale, and you haven't killed anybody. You weren't going to kill anybody.
and-
You're not
and-
fooling
and-
anybody, bro.
and especially Steve. We
Wasn't
know
it
they're
like the
not
first
going
20
to.
minutes
we,
That
of
was
the
in the
know
first
they're-
20 minutes.
We know they're going to use Steve as bait. That's the most obvious garbage. And to have Jonathan catch him is like they're perfect. Like, oh, this works. This is good. Jonathan catches him. Like,
Caleb, 0 out of 10 rage bait
it's
by the Duffers. There you go.
It's just terrible.
They
But
didn't move anybody.
what I was gonna say that really, really I hated in episode 7, Jonathan and Nancy's breakup scene and it just stopping
Well, that's dog shit.
right
Oh
at
my
the
God, the writing
table
in that
to
episode
keep
is
them alive.
that scene is
Close call, close
terrible.
call,
And
man.
not just that, but I just hate the idea of this like reverse breakup where they're like
So
making
stupid.
it the
Yeah.
most complicated, over wordy. Like, I just think it's so annoying. Like, the way that they
The
do
fact I
it,
didn't know it was a breakup in the first place is your first problem.
they had to release a post that confirmed that they were broken up.
And I
Do you
had
know
no
how
idea.
bad your writing is that you had to confirm
And then
I
that they
Hopper
broke
takes the
up?
unproposed to
fucking
you.
ring.
That's just terrible.
What do you mean you unproposed to me?
Yeah, what?
You're an jackass, Jonathan.
That's just terrible. And
And
then
then
they look
Hopper
over
finds the ring somehow.
and when they look over and it's hearted now, and they're like, "Oh my gosh,
I
we
was so
saved
I
the
was
day."
so pissed. I either wanted one of two things. I either wanted Steve and Dustin to save them, or I wanted them
Should
to
have
die.
They
Steve and
could have
No,
Dustin should
died.
have
They
Steve.
could have died.
Well, it could have
but
been
no,
really
we're just gonna
emotional
we're
for
just
them
gonna
here.
make this thing
No one's
stop
gonna
for
die.
some fucking reason.
No
So
one
I
dies
think,
stupid.
and I
except
think if they
for
would have died, it would
stupid
have been
people.
perfect because they
That would have been a great death
they
scene,
confessed
and I would have been
both of
happy
them.
either way.
Oh my
But
gosh.
It's just annoying, and the other thing is like as they get closer to the matter, they see all this shit that like the doctor's skin were melted. Why was this shit not melting them? They were swimming in it. They were literally like drenched in melted matter of the building. Why was this not a problem for them? Like, they didn't explain that at all. And everything with that whole like concept of the matter and like Dustin finding Brenner's old notebook, that just
yeah,
doesn't.
how the hell did Brenner get into the upside down and build a
When did
lab?
he get here, and how does he have all these notes? And here's another thing that I don't know if I'm just wrong, but do they ever actually answer why the upside down is stopped on the day that Will was taken? Do they ever actually answer that? Or is it
No,
literally just because that was the day that Will was taken? Like,
I'm
why
assuming
it's
that
I don't
was
frozen
know.
in
Lucas had
time?
a theory, so duh.
some pure
Like, I
interpretation.
don't think
Bro.
they
I
ever
don't know.
actually answer why it's that time and why it's frozen, other than just saying the bridge was created when Will was taken. Like,
You know, they never actually say why Vecna took Will in the first place, other than he was just the first.
Wasn't it? It was created when Elle reached for Henry, right?
right, but so then why is it frozen the day that Will was taken?
I don't
Because it
know.
had to. It has
It-
to.
I don't think they ever
Because
explained that. And they claimed they were going to. They claimed they were going
unless
to
the
explain why the upside down was the way that it is. And they don't. All they do, this is what they said. They claimed it was going to be that way instead. The only thing they explain is just that it's a wormhole.
was the day Will was taken the same day that Elle created the hole. I think.
Maybe, but like I'm still saying like
I think it
I'm talking about
was.
like why is it just frozen in time? How, and if it is frozen in time like that, then how did Brenner get that notebook there? How does he know about how it was made? How does he like, and you know the answer? Go see the play. That is terrible. That is awful. You should we should have had a whole courtesy to our friend Isaac and his wife saying that they should have had a whole extra season in between these two, just explaining this backstory. We need that.
No.
We need to know why this is the way that it is, instead of just doing a 5 minute sequence where Dustin's like, I found this notebook and it explains everything.
Hey, Gabe, this will make you happy. You know the same guy that could fix another plot hole if you just actually had a decent government presence and had Owens in here talking about Brenner's
Yep.
research, he could have dropped the bomb on them. He could have been like, "We think this is what it is, and we've known for a while, but obviously
But
we don't want the world to know."
once again, he's on his couch right now just watching
Apparently they
TV.
didn't. Apparently they
He's
didn't
like
want to
this
throw
right
Paul
now.
Reiser the bag. I don't know. He probably asked for too much money.
Honestly,
Did we just get a
I would-
Caleb jerk off in the middle of an episode right now? What's happening?
No,
What?
I was
What
Dr.
happened?
Owens. I was Dr. Owens.
Did I
Oh,
mention?
okay.
That makes more
Okay.
sense.
Can I get a rerun on that?
Jack, that
Yes.
would make Jack. I would honestly
We're clipping
rather.
that.
I would honestly rather if it was that problem. I would
That would
dead
be-
ass rather they
that would be good.
that they recast him just to have the
Oh.
character. Like, I would
Or-
rather they did that just to explain. Here's Dr.
Or
Owens.
just cast like a competent, solid actor and be like,
They
I
should have
work with
cast one of
Owens.
the Duffer Brothers.
Anything other than just never mentioning his
There-
name again.
That's my biggest like thing why the show is just lower is there's just things like that where it's like I can come up because I've been the one several times throughout this rant process where I'm like, well, you could say it's this. Like, I think that it's stomachable for me. I don't think that's a word. It's digestible for me. Like, I feel like I can take what I was given in the finale and be like, okay, but there's always going to be that sense of what could have been, and That's the worst part about all of it. Regardless of what your rating is, every single person I feel like that you talk to, I've talked to every single person in my family, and everyone's unanimous thing is what could have been. Regardless of if they hated it or if they loved it, even if you loved it, you still there's so much missed room for potential. I don't know if you say that about any other season of the show. I mean, we're just talking about writing decisions where we would make here that would make it better. I don't know if we've never done that for the
We
other
haven't
stuff, which I
had
know we
to.
haven't been reviewing them all in the pod, but that's never been like a thought in my mind where I'm like, oh, I would have done that. I wouldn't have done this.
That's and I agree with you, and that's because they've been like more than good at writing. Like they've never left plot holes
Yeah.
open like this before. But the problem is the reason they've never left them open is because seasons 1 through 4 weren't the end. So
Hmm.
they just still had them open. But then you get to the
Yeah.
finale and they just didn't close them. And it's like, why did we open so many separate plot holes and then just never close any of them? Like there's so many that have been opened
Yeah.
and even forgotten in other seasons. Like I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there are absolutely plot lines that have just been left and like Owens, he's just left in season 4. There's things that happen that are just literally never going to be answered now because the show is over. And that bothers the hell out of me.
Here's one for you. How about her mom?
Yes, thank you.
They just were like, bye.
She she literally is just there to serve the purpose of explaining that they've done these experiments. That's it. That's the only reason she existed. That was a huge part of the story in season, was it 2? Yeah.
To one and
Season,
two, she's in
Two.
because
both.
2 is the one where, yeah, we get 2 is the one with the lost sister and everything and
No, she's
whatnot,
in
which
two,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's just so annoying that that's just forgotten about. Like, thank you for bringing that up, Jack, because that's what I'm talking about. Is there's just things that like there's plot holes that aren't closed that have carried across all the seasons, but then there's plot holes that they just
Yeah.
slowly
Well,
forgot.
and the other thing is those haven't been as big of an issue because, I mean, honestly, her mom is like comatose basically, and we just kind of got to the point where we're like, okay, so she's
Sunflowers,
just there. Like
rainbows,
it's not
three
like
to the left, four to
the
the
end of
right.
the world. It's not some big thing that affects every character and the major plot. And now
Right.
we have ones that we aren't going to be able to circle back to. And at the same time, we don't have more seasons to have time to move on from them where we're like, okay, well, that just isn't that important anymore. So I'm
Hmm.
not as worried about it.
Hmm.
And so I do have another one that I forgot to bring up earlier when Tyler was talking about the final battle. Actually, everyone talked about the final battle being short. My solution, I think I already talked to you guys about that a little bit. You could have made that battle 2 or 3 times longer, literally just by even kind of world building the abyss, because I have zero problem
Oh
having the
no,
abyss. I actually think it's
they show you the
yeah,
abyss in season 4. It looks nothing like that in season 5.
yeah,
Like it
it
has
is
actually like so
a
much.
little
It has
different.
like vines growing. It has dogs everywhere, bats, all that fun stuff. A storm of lightning, and in
I
this
did see
you
someone
get
with a cool
nothing.
theory that like the mind flayer like basically conjured all that up and sucked all that up to make like the form that it's in, which is a great theory by a fan that they don't explain. You would have to actually show that happening because we've seen the mind flayer take other beings or whatever and create a big monster out of it. Like we've literally seen that happen before, but you don't explain that, and not to mention it just makes it boring anyway. Like I was saying, I have no problem with there being an abyss, with there being an alternate world. That I thought the wormhole made enough sense. I was like, okay, sure, fine, that's cool. Except for the abyss is literally just like a battlescape desert with nothing happening. I feel like the desert was chosen because it would be easy to like CGI. I don't know. It just felt like a really easy blank
Yeah.
canvas to put the big monster
Mhm.
on.
Yep.
And you could solve the entire thing by having Will tapping into his powers with 11 and I don't know, maybe Callie change the story a little bit and
Mhm.
having them fight those three, the super abled individuals fighting the Mind Flayer and Vecna while all the other characters that are literally just people with like spears and shit and fire could have been fighting demodogs, demobats, demogorgons. Could have been fighting all that stuff. It could have been way cooler. Maybe kill one of them. I don't know. Just spitballing here.
No. Why would you do that?
Just kill one of them. If Owens is there, they could have actually had military help. Potentially, could have been a cool full circle moment if Owens shows up and helps. But I'm just saying these are simple ways. This didn't take me like 2 days in a writing room. Like we're just thinking off the top of our heads right now ways that we could be fixing this show. And then I have one other take that is no longer a hot take because I think a lot of people share the same opinion. Not exactly what Tyler's talking about with the ending on season 3, but I do think part of the. I think Jamie Campbell Bower does a great job as Vecna. Frankly, like I think he's actually one of the more talented actors
As
on the
long as he's
show.
not running, that's okay.
That was hilarious. I'm sorry. That was really funny though. I do think the introduction of Vecna is where they started to lose their grip for me. And I think that's where it started to feel less like Stranger Things. Because I thought the like almost like body horror and which I know they do the crumble and all that, but like the body horror and mystery and just strangeness but of the first couple seasons of these mo of these monsters and a hive mind and all that stuff. Like we part of why I think the final battle feels a little underwhelming is because we basically have sidelined the Mind Flayer for two full seasons before we get to that fight. Because we kind of moved on, and in season four we kind of made Vecna our big bad. Like it felt like they were trying to up the stakes, and so they almost sidelined like their overarching villain for the last couple of things. So as much as I like Jamie's performance, I think that was kind of where they lost it. And I think when it was new and fresh, and I thought he was just like a soldier of the Mind Flayer, and the Mind Flayer was going to be the big bad still. I think it still kind of worked for season four. Like Caleb said, they might have just been throwing the dart at the board with Vecna in season four, and they just hit. And so, I'm not even going to read that, by the way. In season five, we needed the Mind Flayer to be present a lot more rather than just scrounging him up for 20 minutes. Like you could feel the Mind Flayer's presence throughout those three seasons in those like side scenes, the rats, all that stuff, the tunnels, the rats. It felt like there was a threat everywhere all the time. And now it was like, well, as long as we got one group of characters messing with Vecna, everyone else will just find a dilly dally around. And I didn't like that we kind of went from that to like just one guy. Like it kind of just shrunk the scale down for me. And so I just wish he was. I have no problem with him being like one of the super able people that are being advantaged and taking control of. I have no problem with that. Like that works for me. But he should have just been like part of it, like the Billy, essentially, like a super powered Billy. But here we are. I don't know if you guys would agree with that or not, but I just think you lost some of the feel when you lost the Mind Flayer, and then you just kind of half-heartedly bring him back. Okay.
Jack, I get what you're saying with like the crap with Vecna and everything and like the concern about him being this big bad, but like I don't know. I'm probably higher on season four than a lot of people. And I thought that Vecna was like genuinely like it was the first
I
time
would
I think
agree
the show was like
with what you're saying.
actually horrifying. Like season three is creepy. It's scary. Season four, watching anyone that gets taken by Vecna that is awful. Like that's actually scary as fuck. And like I really like that. And like I like the idea of this whole story about Henry Creel in the house and them needing to attack the house because that's where he's at. And I like the idea of like you mentioned, Jack, him being a soldier of they literally mentioned
The
it. They
five-star
say
general.
they
They
say it.
say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Direct quote.
I love that idea, but we don't do it. He ends up harboring the big bad and pretty much becoming it, like working together to use it. And I hate that. Like, I don't get why we can't see almost like a, almost like a,
It's supposed to be Darth Vader and Palpatine.
I,
It,
I was
it's
gonna say
supposed to be
like
kind
I
of
was
like
gonna say
that.
like Thanos and Loki, like almost like a we see in this finale the Mind Flayer as this true villain that like is all
Yeah.
knowing, all
Yeah.
powerful. And you know what would be kind of sick even is what if it killed Vecna? Like what if in a way it
That'd
literally
be
takes
sick.
out Vecna, almost like when Ultron shows his new body. Like something like that
Yeah.
would be dope and like show its power, but instead Vecna just
Yeah.
becomes it.
Yeah. Well, and then when people have a issue with 12 kids beating Vecna in a fight, they're like, well, the Mind Flayer killed him because it's,
Yeah.
an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to say about that?
It's just annoying. It's so annoying. And there was one more big con that kind of led me to that I'm going to talk about, and then I have a pro I was going to mention because I've just been shitting on this. But
Just one, bro.
yeah, no, yeah, just single one. It ended. No, I'm kidding. The con I was going to have is Hopper and Joyce have done so much for this show, like so much, and they are just shafted in this season, bro. Like Joyce does nothing, so much to the extent that they have to bring Vecna back so she can cut his head off. I mean, there's literally the scene where Tyler and I were talking about this earlier. The scene where they bring him back, like he's fully impaled, nothing's happening, and then he just starts going like, and he's just somehow back, just so she can
Yeah.
cut his head off. Like they realized they hadn't been using Joyce and they needed to give her this like, well, it started with her kid being taken. Let her be the one to end it because she hadn't done jack shit. And then as for Hopper, he follows Elle around pretty much the entire season and just kind of like asks her not to die and like keeps an eye on her. Like they're both just I mean, in season one, I don't know if this is crazy to say, I think Joyce is the best part of season one.
Oh,
Winona
she's
Ryder's
amazing.
Oh, she
acting
is.
is
It's
So good.
her Hopper. It's those
phenomenal.
two.
Exactly, it's those two.
Everything about season one's peak.
And then in the
So
finale, we just those two
I
get
said that
put
in volume
to the
one.
side.
When Joyce got fucking backpacked, I could tell immediately. I was like, I don't know about Joyce this season. She just
Got
seems
back
off.
You did say
back.
that, Caleb. You did say
I
that.
was like, she's not doing anything
I'll
right
give you
now.
it gets it just gets worse as we
It just
go
gets
along.
worse.
And it gets
She
to the point where you get that crap in the end, like I said, where oh shit, we haven't made her do anything. Let her cut his head off.
well, like
What?
once you give Will powers, you almost make Joyce useless because
Yeah,
that's the whole
because
point of her is be a mother.
well,
But she's yeah. When
they
you have
give
a kid
you
with powers, you gotta have to let him
well,
do his thing.
then they just keep trying to give you a couple of those scenes throughout the rest of the season where the two of them sit down and she tells him the good old "you got this, buddy." Like, stop, dude. She's not just here to be the motivational character for Will. She is her own person. She is her own character, and she just becomes this device that's used whenever Will's depressed. Like, that is stupid. That is terrible. Winona Ryder is so much better than just we need a device here to help make Will feel better. Like that is terrible. And then Hopper's just there. Hopper is just existing for this season, and it's just terrible. It's frustrating. It drives me insane. The one thing I will give them is at least they got the best ending of all the characters. I loved their ending. They get their dinner at Enzo's, they get proposed, and they choose to go move somewhere that's safe. Like that, thank God that that's actually a good ending, but they just get their ending because their content was so bad. So like that drove me crazy. The two of those two characters are two of my favorite
Well,
characters in the entire show, and
yeah.
they just get fucking sidelined for the entire season.
Well, and when in season 4 you have an entire plot line devoted to them in that amazing moment when they reunite, it's the writing like that was fire.
And then
And
instead they're
they
replaced
hardly
by
had. Did they have any moments the other season aside from their ending?
I don't
Like actually one?
no
Like I'm
no
actually trying to think.
they
I think
don't.
Hopper was in the
Hopper
Upside
and
Down or
Joyce
with Elle the
they don't
entire
have like an
time.
emotional moment in this
No, they
season,
do. No, they do
She
before they
talks to
go
him
into
about
the upside down
parenting.
again.
She
Yeah.
talks to him about parenting.
which
Like
she's
once.
done
One.
which she's done three times previously. Like we've done this so many
Well,
times.
that was the problem with this volume two is you have so many different characters that you haven't killed yet, and so you have to wrap up a numerous amount of like
Yeah, but
Holly was.
shouldn't Joyce and Hopper be like number 1 or 2 on the
Well, yeah,
priority
I
list
was gonna
behind
say.
Mike and
Here's what I
Al?
was gonna say. Why the hell did Holly have more screen time than 11 in volume two?
Yes,
Why
Or
did
in
exactly.
volume
Holly have
one?
more screen time than anybody?
I
And
mean,
not to and her
true.
like it's one thing
Why
if you're
was
just
Derek there? I mean,
it's okay,
Okay, shut
relax.
your whore mouth.
It's one thing if you're just introducing a new character, but like again, I enjoyed Holly. I enjoyed the actress. I thought she did a good job.
Agree.
She's just Holly has been the most irrelevant character in this entire show. She's just the little sister that literally has one comedic scene in the entire season, every season. Like she makes some little kid joke, and now we're like, let's put her at the fucking forefront of this entire season. Who is cooking that up? Stop. Turn off the stove. Stop it. That's terrible, bro. Like that is just mind blowing to me that our idea is let's focus this around Vecna stealing children. Why? Who came up with this? Because Jack, I agree. The acting that we get is phenomenal from him. And in the finale, the backstory where he like they almost try to humanize him, which like I didn't love that idea, but like when they do it, the acting is incredible. Like he is awesome.
Yeah.
And it goes nowhere. It goes nowhere. He ends up just
The Mr. What's his stuff is pretty good.
it is and it's because of him, but it's sacrificing what could have been an awesome story with the five-star general just so we can do a stupid he's kidnapping children. Like I don't get it. And that reminds me, I'm sorry, last thing. That reminds me of another scene when Callie gets him on the table and instead of stabbing him goes, what did she say?
Hello, brother.
Hello, brother.
oh my god.
Hello,
I was
brother.
in awe
And then
of
she's
that
like this.
scene. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, let's be real. Even if she tries to swing the
Yes.
knife, he's just gonna go like.
But that
"Oof."
just made me think about it. I was that scene. I was about to just get up and walk away. I was like, no way. She just said hello, brother. Like,
They should have given Derek the
But
knife.
what?
yeah.
But what if she said, "What's up, brother?"
What? Okay, that's
All right, it's time to go to bed.
I think we've
crickets.
reached it. We've
Time
reached
to go to
the
bed.
Crickets. Stupid.
Oh my
Okay,
God, am I muted?
let's hit a couple.
Chat, am I
Chat.
muted?
Okay, let's, let's hit a couple
We
pros.
literally responded to it.
Let's hit a couple. Let's hit a couple pros, and then we'll wrap it up because we've been harsh on this, which we knew we were going to be. But let's hit a couple pros. Do you?
He's at a loss for words.
Well, like I was trying to think. Do you
I
want
have some.
us? Okay, Caleb, throw out some.
Okay.
pros.
I also have some.
Jamie
We know.
Bauer. We already said him as Vecna and Henry, really good. I think he's a bright spot. I think we got a lot of good up from the acting. We got a lot of bad from the acting. I think Sadie Sink, great actress. I think Kale McLaughlin is great. I think Joe Keery, Kate Matarazzo, obviously Winona Ryder, David Harbour. The rest I can't say much about because I don't know. I don't think Finn Wolfhard's a great actor, considering he's focusing on music at this point. Should tell you everything
There's a
you need to
reason.
know. That should tell you everything you need to know. He obviously doesn't care that much.
Yeah.
Well,
I
he does a
don't-
lot of stuff. I mean, he's trying to direct and do music.
True.
He's gonna do all sorts of things. I
Millie
think.
Bobby
He's not a
Brown.
superstar.
Watch Millie Bobby Brown and literally anything else. She's not a good actress. I'm sorry, she's not.
Who?
Millie
Millie
Bobby
Millie
Brown.
Bobby
Brown.
Brown. I
She
don't think
got-
she's bad in Enola Holmes.
Well, it
Have
didn't
you
help
guys all
that she
seen
got fucking Botox at 20 years
She's
old.
fine in Nola Holmes, but the problem is that her best role is Stranger Things, where she's literally playing a person who is like an alien, doesn't know any English.
But
She's
at
just
This is
But
Gal
it-
Gadot.
But it
This is
no, but like at this point though, Caleb, she shouldn't be that way. Like at this point, she has learned enough
Dude,
to not be a robot.
I know,
And she
I'm just
still
saying-
feels like a robot.
she's not good at, and she got her skill was hidden because she was a child, one, and two, because her role was to be quiet. So
Is
it's
that
like,
literally not what happened with Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman?
Gal Gadot is
Where
just
she's playing a fish out of water. so
Gal
it
Gadot
works
is just a
with
shit
Wonder Woman.
actress in general. She's just bad in everything.
so like those two stuck out for me the most. Finn Wolfhard and Millie Brown. And they're obviously not going to listen to this, and obviously it's I'm not. Who am I to say?
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of the things got exposed from this season, and I think it had been showing recently where just the acting was just obviously not up to par. But I do want to say the ones I said, those are good actors. I think there was generally positive stuff there.
The biggest one that you mentioned that honestly I think is the best outside of like maybe David Harbour and Winona Ryder is Sadie Sink. I think she is
I think so, too.
incredible. Every
Mhm.
time she's on screen, I think she gives the best acting performance. Like I know you guys were kind of saying that maybe season 4 wasn't like the best at times, but other people really enjoyed it. Her performance in season 4 is insane. Like amazing. Her and Lucas in the attic in the end is the hardest I've ever cried watching this show. Like I was weeping when I watched that scene. Incredible emotions, and Sadie Sink brings that in every single season that she's a part of. Like she is awesome, and it carries over. Why is she the one that's going to be in a big movie coming out this year in Superman? Spider-Man. Because she's a good actress. That's how it is.
That's
She
not
is
it. She's
big.
going to be in a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She is a good actress, and it shows big time, especially in this season. So, Caleb, I'm glad you mentioned her because
Yeah.
I was going to go there too. Sadie Sink is really good all the time. Like,
Yeah. I'm
constantly.
still waiting for Caleb McLaughlin's blow up. I think he's kind of easing his way into some
he needs
things.
a good role.
He does because
so,
he's
too.
he's functional right now. Like he's
Yeah.
good enough for what they're trying to do. But it's like I do feel like there's a layer that we haven't cracked yet where he could be a really good actor.
Well, and you have to get a good role outside of the show that
Yeah.
elevates you. It can't just be the show. And
Yeah.
Sadie Sinks will probably be Spider-Man, and then she's going to get in everything.
Well, it was kind of the whale. The whale was huge for her. People-
That's true. I didn't
People
see
thought that
so
she was
that's fair.
amazing in the whale, which I mean, working along someone like Brendan Fraser, like that's a big
Yeah.
deal. So she's clearly the most successful in terms of the kids, and I think it proves why. Like, Caleb, I'll take it a step further. Like Jack, I know I probably should watch Amola, whatever.
No,
Enola Holmes.
I should
She's
probably watch that,
fine.
but like, I haven't even thought she's been that good in Stranger Things ever. I just don't think she's that good of an actress, bro.
I would
just
say her
don't.
best acting is in Enola Holmes, but it's not like
Well, it's
a
family
master
friendly, so you
class.
don't have to be a phenomenal actor.
it's
a
not a
family-fun
master
movie.
class.
I
just
honestly
don't
think
think she's
some
that
of
good.
these. I honestly think some of these actors and actresses just they got to the point where they just didn't care anymore about the
Yeah.
show because it's
That
just
happens with kid actors all the time.
it kept
What
going
has
and going.
Rupert Grint been in? as
Literally nothing.
Ron.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at
Like
all.
Ron, like
I
the guy
mean,
who played
Well,
Ron Weasley has
even
like
Daniel Radcliffe's kind of in some random
yeah, he
shit that
kind
he
of went
just
down. He kind of
he takes
back
whatever the
and
hell he
he
yeah,
feels
takes
like doing.
whatever. Him
Hayden
being the villain
Christensen, like
Well,
in
Hayden
what movie is
Christensen
it?
got bullied out of it.
He's in
true, I
Now you
guess.
see
Yeah.
me
See,
too.
now you
That's
see
what
me
it is.
too.
Him being the villain in that is just awful. Like awful. Like
Yeah.
that's so I get what you're saying, Caleb. Like and honestly, part of me wonders if they read the script for season 5 and some of them were like, fuck, dude, like I don't like this.
Millie
Like
Bobby Brown was like, at least they're paying me $10 million to be
Yeah, no
here.
kidding.
exactly. You're not gonna not do it. They're paying you out their ass. Like it's just annoying. But somehow
Yeah.
we went here when we're supposed to be.
No,
No,
I
I'd
just
actually
want to
like to
say I want
not
to say a couple
return
more
to
things
Stranger
quick.
Things.
I want to say a
Yeah,
couple of things.
exactly.
I just want to say the soundtrack for this final episode I thought was great. Having the Purple Rain scene, I thought the Purple Rain scene was really good. As stupid as it is, and how many plot holes there is to it, having Purple Rain in that moment was really good. Landslide as the first song and the epilogue was really good with Robin back on the mic. I thought that was perfect. I like Hopper's speech to Mike on the bench outside of
Yeah.
the memorial. I thought it was a great speech, and that's gonna be one of the all-time moments. Like I said, and a lot of the things that I liked this movie that were just brief, like the fight. I thought it was great. It needed to be longer. I thought that some of the little mini pieces here between the characters because they were walking towards Vecna's lair was cool. It was small, but they were like trying to build a little bit. Obviously, it wasn't enough because they just didn't have enough time to do it. But
Yeah.
I think that, and I also like the roof scene. I think that I don't like where a lot of those characters'
Are you talking about the roof
stories
scene at
go.
the end
Yes, with
Steve and
Robin and
Nancy
Nancy,
yeah,
and yeah,
okay.
I like that scene because it's literally just them hanging out, and it's just them.
Yeah, that's nice.
I honestly think that scene was just probably unscripted. I wonder if they just kind of like let them do their own thing, kind of riff off each other, or at least give them like an idea, and we're just like just go with it. I think they could have seen it because they know these characters at this point. Like Joe Curie was like crying during it, like he's just doing his thing basically. I think. So I think there's moments where that's really good. The soundtrack, obviously, of Stranger Things is a big caveat for this show. It's what carries a lot of like every time a new Stranger Things season comes out, there's one song that just goes ultra platinum because it's Stranger Things. I think Purple Rain's gonna get a big jump. Um, but yeah, those are like my
Not
big
Did the
not that it
upside
moments.
down
needs it.
song? Upside
Yes, it
down's
is really,
probably
and like
gonna go up there.
Fernando has been going a little bit higher because of it, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would echo largely everything you just said there for pros. I would just say the biggest thing that like wins me over is I think they hit the emotional beats pretty well. I mean, you guys all talked about actually not all of you. Caleb exceptionally talked about the finale hitting on the heartstrings where you wanted it to. And while once again, the story of the entire episode is there could have been a lot more, I just the emotion hit for me. And then as Caleb mentioned, acting in specific moments, especially in the finale, kind of redeemed it at least to an acceptable level for me.
Fair. I think almost all of my 2 stars come from just those like you just mentioned, Jack, some of those more emotional moments and especially the epilogue. I mean, the very ending is worth like one and a
Yeah.
half of my stars,
The,
and that's the last 10 minutes. Like everything with them sitting around the D&D table playing again for the last time, like all of that is emotional. Them putting the books away is emotional. Them seeing Holly and her friends playing it is emotional. A lot of the stuff with pretty much everybody that like the emotional scenes were good. Everything with Dustin
yeah.
and Steve when he keeps him from going is really good, and all that hits enough for me to not be like this was terrible. Like I
Yeah.
didn't
It,
hate it.
yeah. In other words, they're really damn lucky that we care as much as we do about these characters
Well,
and their
they've
actors
that's
associated with
because
them. People love them. So even if it's not perfect, it's probably going to connect.
that's because the first 4 seasons have been so good. They've built up such good characters that that's why and now we're to why I gave it a 2, not higher, because the first 4 seasons have done so good just to let me down at the end. So, Tyler, your last kind of statements here about maybe some pros.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of going to echo what you guys just said. I mean, the acting from select few actors and actresses were really good, like Sadie Sink and uh, David Harbour and those characters and stuff like that. But obviously, the last 10 minutes I think hits emotionally. I didn't cry, but I definitely felt something. Especially when they, like Gabe, you just said, when they put away their notebooks and shit. But honestly, so I gave this a 2, just like Gabe. But one of my favorite moments from this entire season is the final episode, the ending of episode 4. I think all, despite the fact that I don't know if I agree with the idea of having Will getting powers, it was so cool seeing Vecna walk out or farming, killing everybody with the Demogorgons, and then Will doing that. It was great. It was a good send off to go into the second version or the second part of season 5, but obviously that went from there. But yeah, that's why I have a 2.5 or 2 out of 5.
All right. Well, we will wrap up the episode there, but we'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. We know there's a lot of hot takes, a lot of opinions, a lot of people trying to theorize that the show's not over yet and that there's something that's still going to drop, which is just ridiculous. But the coping is strong. But we'd still love to hear you guys' thoughts below. If you guys really liked it, let us know why and all that good stuff. But with that being said, thank you guys very much for listening, and we will catch you guys next time.